everyone, welcome back to the channel, and I'm finally going to get round to comparing these two head sculpts to one another. You have the Ones Customs Blackest Eyes version 2 1978 Michael Myers 1/6 scale head sculpt, and you have the Madbug / Silent Surfer retooled Nick Castle stretch. I hope I'm right about that detail. It's just, I assume that because the mouth is more of a narrow kind of shape, obviously because his chin's digging in and making the mask stretch. A sick little detail on a very accurate looking mask. But anyway, sculpted by Madbug, haired and painted in this instance by Silent Surfer. So we will compare this one to this one, and One, that's his name as far as, you know, the custom world goes, Mr. One himself, he sculpted this, haired it himself and painted it himself. So one man, one vision, one amazing result. And yeah, you can't mess with One. You really can't. I mean, I love the way he goes for that accurate thing, but he always manages to put his little stamp on it, you know, a little, you can always tell it's his work. Like the new 2018 Michael Myers, like him over there, the custom head sculpt that he's making, from what I've seen so far, I mean, it's really, really good, really accurate, amazing detail, but you can definitely tell it's a One's custom head sculpt, and you can tell this is too. Like I've said, repeating myself in other videos obviously, but in case this is your first time here, I do refer to this one now as pretty much the Great White, because it just reminds me of a great white shark. The flared out neck, you know, is different from, say, this one here. This one doesn't have so much of a flare out. But that does happen when you're wearing a mask like this. And yeah, just the way it sort of comes to a head with the hair shape that I go with, thanks to some great artwork and reference pictures that I always sort of use to get my hair looking right. That's the kind of shape you want to get, and that's what I go for with these two here. But yeah, it sort of reminds me, the shape of it and the black eyes, the way they are, and just the white mask, there's an evilness and a thickness and a shape to this that just makes me think of a great white shark coming at you to eat your ass. So that's just something I see when I look at this, which is quite fitting, you know, the great white, whether it deserves, you know, the title of the most frightening thing in the ocean, probably, you know, it does deserve it, because you look at a great white's mouth and you think, well, I'm spending too much time talking about damn great whites. Anyway, respect the ocean, people. Stay out of there. We got no place being in the drink. Anyway, let's get back to this. Let's start with the hair, shall we? Okay, so hair. I'm gonna give the hair to the Madbug sculpt, which actually Silent Surfer did the hair on this. So a very good job from him. Notice how I'm not letting my experience with Mr. Silent Surfer affect my opinion of the work before me. Very professional indeed. So yeah, I just think the main reason is there's just not as much hair here to sort of contend with as there is on the Blackest Eyes V2. Now, the hair doesn't bother me at all on this. I've heard someone recently say he didn't like the hair on this sculpt. He had his reasons. I acknowledge that there is a lot of it. I've gelled mine down and tried to style it at different times, and then I've washed the gel out and tried it a different way and such. But now I've kind of settled on this for now. I'm still not 100% happy with how the hair on this guy is looking, but that's more down to me and the time I'm taking to get it looking right. The feel of the hair is good. It's quite thick and kind of just, yeah, you know, it does the job. It's just there's a lot of it there, and I do have trouble sometimes getting it to look exactly how I want it to, but I really can't complain about the hair because it is done very well. A great color, great sort of feel to it, and you can definitely work with it and make it look how you want it to look. You can always give it a haircut. I've done that with many of my little head sculpts here. Sometimes the Michael Myers hair is a little bit too long. You just have to give it a little bit of a trim, comb it all up in the air like he's just been electrocuted, and then just sort of trim around, just bring it down a bit, because sometimes, you know, the hair from the front goes all the way to the back of the neck. You think to yourself, that's way too long. Not on this one, but in some cases that I've seen. Anyway, So yeah, I would give the hair to this particular head sculpt. It looks very strange because I think I did put a bit of gel, or maybe Silent Surfer put some gel in when he sent it. But I haven't really had the time to sit and play around with the hair too much on this. But anyway, it's very, very, very close, almost equal. I think it really just comes down to the fact that there's a little bit less hair on this one to work with, so it's just easier to kind of manipulate and to push into the positions you want it to be in, because it's just not as thick as the hair on this guy. He's definitely got a fuller head of hair, and it just makes it a little bit trickier to sort of push and maneuver in the ways you want, but you still can. It just takes a little bit more effort. So yeah, hair takes that one, or should I say this head sculpt takes it with the hair, but not by much, just a little bit. When it comes to the eye holes in the mask, I've noticed something over the course of years now that I've been a fan of the Halloween movie and character of Michael Myers. There's this kind of slight, what's the word, like a tilt to the eye holes. They don't just, like, say for instance, they have a slight tilt here. You can see how this corner of this eye is slightly sagging down ever so slightly. So he did include that here. It's maybe not as obvious as it might be in some of the artwork and some of the reference pictures. You can't really see much of a tilt on the eye hole there, but it's just something I've picked up over the years. Like, I think it's this eye is usually a little bit kind of that way. Let's see if you can see it in this one. These are just the three main sort of pictures I wanted to grab, just for reference, you know, just to see what the real mask looks like. By the way, and you notice how the hair looks there? And then you look at the custom nag mask. If the hair, you know, if the light was closer to the mask and beaming off the head, you'd really see what I'm talking about. I checked this out earlier, and that hair on that mask is as accurate as it gets. It's really freaky. He looks right a bit chubby faced at the moment. I think that might be my fault. The mask doesn't usually look like that. Anyway, I digress. So yeah, slight sag or a slight tilt. This, as soon as I came over here and I looked at this one just now with the camera, I saw it straight away. It didn't take any effort for me to spot it. You can see the shape of that eye compared to the shape of this eye, and that just seems slightly. Let me just change the lighting here, get that light a little bit more down here. Maybe I don't want the light to affect anything. Damn, it's close. It's super close. I'm sorry though, I'm gonna have to, I don't know, why am I saying sorry? Because I fucking love One's custom stuff, man, I really do. And I want him to win this, to be honest, because, you know, I do. I'll be honest with you, I do want this head sculpt to win this, but I gotta be honest with you, I don't know if it will, because this is just an amazing and very, very, very accurate looking piece. But we'll carry on and we'll continue with cheeks, chins, noses, mouths, the whole deal. But yes, when it comes to the hair, I think this one has taken it just by an inch. And when it comes to the shape of the eyes and the tilt that the eye holes have in the mask, I think I'm going to give it to this one too. And you guys light up the comment section if you think I'm wrong, because I very well could be. Fair play to you. Next we'll go to something I've actually never thought about. His nose. Which one has the more accurate nose? Honestly, I've never even bothered to look. That'll be interesting. I brought the mask over so we can get a really good look at the schnoz and see what the deal is. Okay, so let's take a look at the nose from the straight on angle. That's what we're dealing with. Come over here to the Madbug. Let's go over here to the Blackest Eyes nose. Okay. Okay, so the nostril on the left hand side, that's his left. They've both got that slight dip on this side. Notice how that nostril is slightly lower or slightly sagging. And it's doing the same thing on this. Is it doing that on mine? On my life-size mask? You could say that's slightly sagged down. It is very subtle, but I'm seeing it. So from a front view, just turn down this brightness all the way. I think I'm going to give the nose, because it is quite thin on the Madbug. It's quite a narrow nose, and you can see it is thicker on the mask. I'm going to give the, well, let's do a side profile first. Let's go ahead and check out the side view. Turn these bad boys around. God damn that mask. Absolutely amazing. Okay, so let's just check the shape. Every time I say the word shape and I'm doing a Michael Myers video, there's a part of my brain saying, you just said the shape. Anyway, so, it's not a very long nose, is it? It doesn't exactly go on forever. It's quite a short bridge. It's very nerdy territory we're heading into now, like examining noses. That seems about the right distance there. So does that one. Well, okay, so from the side profile, they're all pretty good. But going back to that front view, the one's custom sculpt, I think, was a more accurate thickness. Definitely, I noticed that when I was looking at it. Just the bridge of the nose is, and especially the whatever that's called, the bumpy bit in the middle of the two nostrils, that does seem more accurate in this case, definitely. Whereas the Madbug, very accurate but slightly narrow. But that could be down to the Nick Castle stretch, couldn't it? But I'm going to give the nose to the Blackest Eyes version 2 by One's Customs. He takes it on the nose. Now, if you want to compare the cheekbones, well, I say cheekbones, but you just get that classic kind of Michael Myers cheek action on the mask. One of my favorite images again. Let's just have a look at how they look on here. Yep, I mean, this is a painting. It's not a real picture from a movie, obviously. If you look at this classic picture of Myers here, might be a bit washed out. It's quite hard to see the cheekbones. I can see the lines. They are quite subtle. That does seem quite in line with what I'm looking at on the Nag mask. And over here, that classic scene, yep, you can see it's not so much that the cheekbone is protruding out so much from the mask. It is that kind of shadowing on the paintwork, or maybe just, you know, the shadowing of that situation. So I really like the cheekbones on the One's Custom sculpt, because they are subtle, but again, with the light changing, they really can jump out at you depending on how the light's falling. But, you know, in this case, you know, that seems quite accurate to each other, very similar. Whereas over here on the Madbug, they are way more obvious in sculpt and paint application as well, because the way Silent Surf had done the paint on this is kind of to bring out the structure of the mask a bit more. I'm trying to get that to bloody focus for you. There you go. So yeah, but it all just comes down to, you can't really call it on this particular, you know, cheekbone category thing, because, you know, it's a thin mask. Like when I got the Trick or Treat Studios life-size 2018 mask, I was really surprised, because that latex is way thicker and tougher feeling than my Nag 78 Nightmare here. This is a lot thinner. It's not thin, but it's just, it feels way thinner than the Trick or Treat mask over there. But yeah, I can't say one's better than the other in this case, because it's a very thin mask, and depending on even the slightest movement of your face or turning your head, it's going to affect the whole thing. Whereas, you know, the nose, you can kind of call that, because it's, you know, it's not going to distort too much. Yeah. So I'm not going to call it, like I say, with the cheekbones, just a great job all round by everyone, really. I do like the more pronounced look on this one, although I do acknowledge that it don't seem to be that pronounced in the pictures that I'm looking at here, even though it is just two images, and, you know, it is the shape. It just seems to change. That's the thing about the classic 78 mask. It looks different in every scene. I mean, we all know that, and it's very much the case with that new mask from the new movie as well. That, you know, they must have had about, I don't know, 6 different masks for the new film, because just when you think you know exactly what it looks like, you see it in another scene, it's like, oh man, that looks different. So but yeah, very good job by one on the cheekbones here, very accurate to what I'm looking at on the Nag mask, and also a very good job on the cheekbones on this one too. Way more pronounced than obvious, but in certain scenes they do look like that. Let me just think. Yeah, I'm thinking of like when he's stalking, I forget her name now, when she's changing her clothes because she spills a tiny bit of water on her jeans. She like completely changes her whole outfit because of a little dribble of water. Anyway, yeah, great job all around on the cheekbones. Moving on to the, I don't know, what, the mouth? You want to do the mouth action? Okay. Alright, well I actually went as far as to actually measure. This mouth is 4 centimeters wide. This mouth is 4.5 centimeters wide. So again, I think that comes down to the Nick Castle stretch. You know, if we were to pull down on this chin like that, I mean the mouth opens, but you can see what happens. So maybe that's why this mouth is slightly more sort of narrow in width. So I'm just gonna say a great job all round with the mouths, and yep, they make sense to me because this is not supposed to have, well, I mean maybe it's going for a Nick Castle stretch, but this one I know for a fact is definitely trying to sort of convey that kind of pull down on the chin to kind of narrow out the features a little bit. That could be what's making the nose look more narrow, I'm not sure, but it's interesting nevertheless. Now notice on this side the edge of the mouth goes slightly upward, and on this side it goes slightly down, a slight droop on this side, and that is accurate. See, slightly up, slightly down. What about over here? Nope, that looks to me like both corners of the mouth slightly turn up. So okay, Madbug, you take it on the mouth. Ugh, well, you know what I mean. Thank God I said on. Chin! Alright, chin action. Let's see. That's what the Madbug chin looks like. That's what the real chin looks like. And that's what the Blackest Eyes chin looks like. Let's see. Let's see. Okay. I'm feeling a greater sense of distance between that bottom lip and the bottom of this chin. This seems a bit more close. How about over here? That does seem fractionally different. Very fractional. But again, that totally comes down to who's wearing it at the time. I believe it was, God, at least 5 or 6 damn people who wore the mask in the original movie. Even Deborah Hill, is it? The producer? Even she wore it at one point. So, mind you, that was from very, very far away, so that doesn't really count for this particular subject, does it? But anyway, I'm not going to, again, like with the cheekbones, I'm not going to go and say one is better than the other when it comes to the chin. It seems so stupid going this deep. I'm trying to be as thorough as possible for you guys out there who wonder about these things, because I wondered about these things before I got my hands on the Madbug, for instance, and I had this. I often would wonder, I wonder which one has more accurate this and more accurate that. And I am using my mask here as a reference, which I hope you guys are okay with. I mean, I'm sure you guys are fine with that because you can see it's a hell of an accurate mask. It really is. So yeah, great chins all around. What's next? Oh, again, something I've never even thought about, but might as well compare the ears. Alright. Okay, ears. Let's take a look at these ears. That's how that looks. Oh, that's how that looks. I was thinking to myself, I was looking at that ear and thinking, isn't that a little bit big up here? And then I panned over, I was like, oh nope, that is exactly how that looks. Even the darker colouring, notice that? And look how accurate the sideburn rip-off line is, or the glue line is. from where the sideburns were ripped off of the Captain Kirk mask. That is very accurate. The side profile of these two. Wow. Okay. So, one, anything I've said, if you're watching this, anything I've said where you haven't won a category, it doesn't matter, man. Look at that. You really did nail it. The Blackest Eyes version 2 is one of your very best. No doubt about it. Let's see. What is the ears like on this guy? Not much of a darkening. Like, you see the way this ear, it gets darker, and one did that as well. Definitely gets darker compared to the front here. This one, you know, got a really harsh bright light on him at the moment, but his ear is actually quite pink. There is a fair bit of pink coming through, or skin tone coming through the white spray paint on the mask. I mean, it's crazy details. But as far as the actual shape of his ear, that is also pretty similar to me. So, yeah, I don't know. It's very, very, very close. The shape of the ears all seems good all around, but I would say, notice how the darker color here compared to the rest of the face, that does seem very on point. So that's all I'll say about that. Interesting. Okay, just moving on to the jawline, sort of going into the chin from the side profile. Now you'll notice this kind of line here, where there's still some sort of neck, and then you've got the sort of distinct, suddenly the chin starts sort of rounded into this area here, with some shadowing with the paintwork, or maybe that's just, yeah, there does seem to be definitely a darker sort of tone coming up there, just to kind of give you the distinction, just the movie accurate vibe. And come over here, check out one's, turn down that brightness, there we go. Yeah, that is very accurate to me as far as what I can tell here. That's very good. Come over here to the Madbug. Okay. Let me just bring this guy over for a minute. Something seems, it's almost like, I guess again, could be down to the Nick Castle stretch effect. It seems like the whole face, the whole from here outwards onwards, seems like this should just be out a little bit more. Like there should just be more sort of area here. Like this whole face seems like, compared to this and compared to that, this seems a bit more pushed in. But again, that could be down to the whole trying to convey that Nick Castle was wearing it. The guy, Nick Castle, had a lot of hair inside this mask. He had a big old frizzy head of curly hair when he was filming this, so that really would have affected the general shape, there's that word again, shape of the mask when he was wearing it. But that's interesting. But I would definitely, again, side profile definitely seems just more, you know, more accurate on this one from a side profile as far as the distance of everything. Just seems that way to me. It's just my opinion, guys. Obviously, could be totally wrong. Do not claim to be any kind of friggin' expert on anything, really. He says to himself. Anyway, what's next? We've done pretty much all the features. We've even done a bit of side profile action. Well, let's just get down to the nitty gritty. Let's try and decide which one of these is the ultimate. I don't know if I'm going to be able to make a decision on that, people. I don't know. I love them both. Let's take a look at the forehead, because there is a fair bit of difference between all three of these right now when it comes to the forehead. This one has that kind of the NECA sculpt, both for the 7-inch figure and the 1/4 scale of the classic Michael Myers. They have that kind of, not sure how to describe it to you, but it's like this kind of, like the flex capacitor. You see that one here, one there, comes down to the in between the eyebrows where the nose bridge starts, and there's some shadowing there effect, or some, you know, just a light bit of dry brushing from Silent Surfer to accent it. Whereas this one, the Blackest Eyes version 2, doesn't seem to have that, and it even has some kind of wrinkles, 2 wrinkle lines. Let me just get this brightness down a bit. There you go. It does have 2 subtle wrinkle lines in the forehead, which don't think, there certainly doesn't seem to be any wrinkles on the Nag mask, and there is a very subtle sort of upside down triangle shape happening here, but again, it is very, very subtle. Let's come here and look at some pictures again. Not seeing so much of that here, but again, you could watch the movie and then there'll be a scene where you see it and you'll be like, oh, there it is. So yeah, it's very subtle. Very subtle. Trying to get that angle for you. That is insane, man. Friggin' insane. Let's hold that up. Yeah, definitely need to work on that hair. I can get that looking better. It's just a matter of actually pulling my finger out and doing it. Okay. Yeah, foreheads. All very different. Alright, both the heads off the body, just on the rotating base. I'm not going to have them rotating, I'm just wanted to have them off the bodies. No distractions, side by side. And the way things are set up right now with the lighting, you are getting a very accurate look of what the colour, the paint, the paint scheme, paint job, whatever you want to call it. You're getting a really true look at how that actually appears on the head sculpt. So over here, silent surface paint job. It's very impressive, very detailed. You are getting a fair bit of the original skin tone of the mask coming through the white. And yeah, just very, very nicely done. The eyes are buried deep into the mask, and the eyes are very, very well painted. You won't really... Oh, there you go. Yeah, you can see them. Very, very well done. They're really far back into the mask, so you do have to look for them sometimes, but in daylight you can catch them pretty easy. But yeah, very, very... I mean, that angle right there, that is just... It's amazing. And so yeah, you've got more of a pink look to this one. I know one guy I saw on YouTube who had a Madbug sculpt. He ended up repainting the mask himself because he got a little bit fed up with seeing the pink all the time. I would never take a paintbrush to this. I went through too much to get it. It is, like I've said before, if you are a 1/6 scale Michael Myers custom figure collector, you kind of have to have the Madbug. Or one of them. There are, I think, 2 different versions of the Madbug sculpt. But this is the retooled version, so I'd never do anything to this. I keep it exactly how it is. I just mess with the hair and try and get that looking right. You'd be amazed how much difference it can make when you style your Michael Myers figure's hair properly. Not that right now these are looking proper at all, because I've been messing with them. It's gone a bit flat. I always just give it a little push here. Brings up that volume. Just generally makes the symmetry of the whole mask. When you bring up a bit of volume on the top, keep the sides pushed in, it just generally makes the whole symmetry of the whole head look better. When this is too flat down, it just looks odd to me. And similarly, I've seen some chaps with this head sculpt with the hair kind of coming down over the sides, like a center parting with the hair just kind of drooping out. It should not be like that, guys. You've got to sort that out because it's throwing things off. But if that's your thing, you gotta do it. But anyway, the Blackest Eyes version 2 has quite a few different colors going on here. Sometimes it has that fish belly blue look to it, and there definitely is the fish belly blue thing happening. And I know for a fact it should be called fish belly blue because that's what it says on the making of the movie, one of the versions anyway that they released. I was watching the documentary and the guy who was working on the mask originally was mentioning that. He said they ripped off the sideburns, made the eye holes bigger, painted the mask fish belly blue. That's what he called it. So you don't get a hint of the fish belly blue on this one. It's just the pink skin tone coming. I mean, the neck work there is really, really impressive. That's really realistic looking. It's getting nice and close. So yeah, I'm not getting any of the fish belly blue, but I'm getting plenty of skin tone underneath the white, which is a really cool detail. I don't know quite how, well, I suppose it's not that hard to pull off, but you know, I dabble in painting things sometimes, but I wouldn't know how to get that kind of effect. It's very impressive. But then again, the Blackest Eyes V2 has a very nice sort of skin tone coming through on the neck area as well, spreading up to the ear. They both kind of have that. But there is a nice subtle amount of blue in here as well on the One's Custom Sculpt. Alright, let me turn them in towards each other. Let's just get a look at the side profiles here. Turn the brightness down a touch. There you go. I mean, now this just looks all pink. Whereas there is a lot more going on transition wise between the colours here on the One's Custom Sculpt. And I'd have to say, while I do like the subtlety of the glue line for the sideburns, this does seem more accurate to me because on the real deal you've still got a little bit of let me just get that to focus for you. See the way you've got the actual glue. They went as far on this mask to actually really do it. That's crazy. On this side I think it's actually a little bit more obvious there. Yeah, it's amazing. Anyway, so there you go. Interesting side profile with the Madbug there. It's just Nathan's Silent Surface paintwork is just a fraction, a little bit too much, sort of a little bit more pink than I would have wanted. But I don't have any problem with it, honestly, because I do like each one of these head sculpts to be their own thing and have their own character, have their own you know, cheesy word vibe. So, yeah. Interesting. You want to see him from the back? Just in case. You want to go ahead and hit it from the back. Look at that. That looks just like in the trailer too for the new movie when he's walking towards that lady's shed to get the hammer. It's the exact same hair color. Notice that? Sick. But yeah. So they should both look like this. And they don't. They do not, sir. The hair is much darker here and very almost the same, but this is slightly lighter than this from what I can see here. Very subtle, very subtle. But yeah, it's a different kettle of fish on the real deal. Different kettle of fish indeed. Man, that mask is insane. God damn it. Anyway. Alright, so I guess we're heading to the end of the video. I'm going to pause this and have a little think and make sure I haven't forgotten anything. Wish you guys could send me a message right now and say, you haven't shown this, or you forgot to mention that, and then that way I could cover it. But you can see, I'm showing you, we've got the 4K recording happening here. So you're getting a really good look. Didn't show you the eyes inside the mask on the Blackest Eyes. They are in there. Very, very nicely done. Nice and deep in the mask as well. Not quite as deep as on the Madbug sculpt, but they don't need to be, you know, any deeper than they are on this. It serves its purpose perfectly. Very, very cool. Alright, let me just think about anything I need to mention and then we'll wrap the video up. Hope you guys have been enjoying it so far. Make sure you let me know your thoughts in the comments. I'll light it up. It's definitely worth showing you one of the most recent Michael Myers head sculpts by One at One's Customs. This is the 1/4 scale version. Well, it's not a version of this. This is the Blackest Eyes version 2. Whereas this, I believe, just from me, from what I've seen, I've come to the conclusion this is an upscaled version of the latest 1/6 scale Michael 78 head sculpt that One has been working on and soon to be released to everybody. I haven't had it confirmed, but it looks to me, particularly because of this kind of double bump thing happening here. You got the cheekbone and then there's like another bump underneath, and this is way more pronounced. This is different. You can see, like on the Madbug, This now has a very similar kind of shape there. This droop on the cheek on the 1/4 scale is different to this one. But then again, he is the shape. The mask, you know, kept looking different throughout the movie, so there are going to be differences. But just wanted to show you the 1/4 scale head. Let's take the Madbug out for a minute just so we can see both the ones custom sculpts side by side here. Yeah, pretty different. The hair's certainly different. Different hair used here on the big guy. Yeah, very pronounced glue rip line there on the side bone bit. That is... maybe that's just the shadow from the light coming in at this angle, making it look more intense than it really is. When I think of all the equations, all the factors. Way more pink, especially at the back here. Yeah, this one has it too. You can see it there. Beautiful paintwork. Like I said before, One's Customs always manages to put his stamp on things while keeping it as accurate as he can to the source material. You always know it's his work. It's just got that One's Customs kind of look to it. And I mean, you know, that in the greatest way possible. I love his stuff because you know it as soon as you see it. You think, yeah, that's a One Sculpt. Awesome. Anyway, let's put this back on the body. Alright, I'm going to this particular setup here with the Ultimate Myers. This was the head that was on there, the Madbug. Let's try it with the Blackest Eyes V2. I can just get this collar to get out of the way for a moment. Now, I'm not going to be able to push it down as far as it should be, but that is the setup with the Blackest Eyes version 2. Proportion wise, I do feel that the Blackest Eyes V2 works better on this particular setup here. This body is slightly bigger. I can't tell you exactly which one it is. I'm sorry, it's just a bit too confusing with all the different body swaps and mods that I've been doing over the years. Hard to keep track of which body's on which figure anymore. You tend to forget. But so that is how that looks on there. And let's take it off. Actually, we'll grab this one and we'll put the Madbug, which I haven't done yet. I've never put this sculpt with these coveralls before, so this will be my first time seeing this. Again, that definitely needs to be pushed down further. There is blue tack up in the head sculpt, so yeah, that head should definitely be... it's way too high at the moment, but just to give you an idea of how it looks. I need to mess with the hair, but yeah, you know, looks alright. I definitely prefer them the other way around. You may disagree. Lurking in the shadows, an evil thing watches. Yeah. Okay, I'm going to try and give you some final thoughts. Let's wrap up the video. I'm going to basically duck out of this one, guys, because I can't sit here and honestly tell you, you know, it's difficult. I can't say which one is better than the other because I honestly... there's too many factors, there's too many, and I'm sure a lot of you, you know, the hardcore Maya fans would agree. There's no one moment in the movie where there is the definitive look, that is what the mask looks like, because then in the next scene the shadows fall, he'll turn his head, he'll whatever, and it will change slightly. The shape, you know, that's the whole point. He's, you know, it's hard. It's the beauty of Michael Myers, man, that you can't pinpoint. Mystery is a very powerful thing. Mystique is what gives something longevity. You know, when you don't know about, you can't pinpoint it. You can't finalize an answer because he is the shape. And that's, it just factors in, man. It makes it difficult to call this and say 100% one's better than the other. One's better than the other. I don't mean one is better than the other, as in one sculpt. I mean, you know what I mean. It's confusing. Why, one, can't you be called something else? Every time I say one, I get mixed up. Anyway, I hope you've enjoyed the look at both the head sculpts. Let me know what you think in the comments. What are your thoughts? I'm very glad to have both sculpts. They are very different to each other. Each one has their little pluses and minuses here and there. Do love the Madbug sculpt. Very glad to have it, but also extremely happy that I managed to get my hands. I remember the day this head sculpt popped up on eBay. Not eBay, Facebook. It was Facebook. It was a chap whose name, sorry, it's not coming to me right now, but if you're seeing this, man, let me know in the comments, remind me, and I'll go ahead and put that right. But when I saw this was on Facebook, I messaged the guy. I was at work at the time, and I didn't get much work done that night because I spent most of the time on Facebook saying, please sell it to me, please. It's like the Madbug sculpt. It is an essential sculpt if you are, you know, building up a nice little 78 Myers custom figure collection. Blackest Eyes V2 by One's Customs is pretty much essential. Never seen the Blackest Eyes version 3 in person. I think that's smaller, slightly smaller or something like that. But, you know, I like the big size of the, you know, Blackest Eyes V2 because it just seems, you know, a human head has to fit inside that mask, and I certainly believe that there is a human head in there. This is seems slightly smaller, so I do rock him on the slightly smaller setup. You'll notice I had to use 2 extra little stands there just to get them in line with each other height-wise. Tanila actually messaged me and said you might want to try a different body for this one. I think it was this one she was talking about. Either way, that will be sorted out later. It's, you know, it's a money situation really. You know, these bodies, they can be cheap, I guess, depending on which one you get, but I don't like to go with the cheap option. I think if you're going to do something, do it, and do it properly. So I have to wait for a little bit more money in my pocket, and then I'll go ahead and get the bodies corrected. So, yeah, final thoughts. I love them both. Looking at the Nag mask here, which is, you know, like I say, pretty much as accurate as it's ever going to get for a replica of the original 78 Myers mask from the movie. This one does tend to share many similarities. The cheekbones, the forehead, even though there are some wrinkles here that I don't see on this. But you notice how it doesn't have that big bulky kind of upside down, or the big V shape. This doesn't seem to have that, and it's not on the mask from what I can see. Whereas this one definitely does have that V shape protruding, which I really do like. And again, I do recognize it from the movie. You do see it like that at certain points. So it makes it very difficult for me to give you a definitive answer, and I think I would be wrong if I did give you a definitive answer on which one is more accurate, because how the hell would I know? I mean, God, the reference pictures from the original movie, most of them are in black and white. Found a couple of color pictures which I found very handy for finding the right color material for the coveralls I got coming up soon from Tanila. So there'll be maybe a coveralls comparison coming up soon, which should be very interesting as well. But honestly, guys, like I said, I think it would be wrong for me to, honestly, I'm not worried about hurting feelings, although I am aware of that, and I wouldn't want to piss off someone like One. I have no idea who Madbug is, if it's male, female, a young person, an old person. I just don't know. I really don't know much about Madbug. So, yeah, I can't really tell you anything on that. But, yep. Sorry I can't give you a more definitive answer to that, but I hope I've shown you enough for you guys to kind of make up your own mind. If you are in a situation where you're planning on getting a Myers sculpt and you've been wondering, should you go for the One's custom sculpt, be it the V2, the V3, whatever, or the new Michael 78 sculpt, which is beautiful. Like I said, it's a smaller version of that one. Or whether you want to try and get hold of the Madbug / Silent Surfer jobby, because that is proving to be quite a rare piece now. I don't know if they're going to make any more. I don't know how that's going to work. You might have to depend on people selling their figures on eBay, or keep an eye on the threads on Facebook where people sell their figures. I love them both, I really do, and I've been through, a fair bit to try and get hold of these over the years and piece them together. And yeah, absolute pleasure to own both of them. Hope you guys have enjoyed the video. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Any questions you might have for future videos that you want to see answered, you go ahead and let me know, and I'll be sure to do that for you. But for now, hope you guys are having a sweet October. Thanks for all your support on the videos. I read every comment. I try to reply to as many as possible. And I thank you for your interest. God bless. See you soon. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.